Have you ever wondered how making a few simple tweaks in Outlook could transform the way you work, making your inbox not only organized, but uniquely yours? What if the secret to a smoother, smarter email experience was hidden in the settings that you've never explored? In this video, we'll look at Outlook's powerful customization features, revealing tips and tricks that even seasoned professionals often overlook. Get ready to learn how small changes can make a big impact on your daily workflow. To find your mail settings, go to the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner. In the Settings dialog box, there are several options, and we're going to focus on the ones that will help you organize and manage your email. Under the Mail options, the first section we will look at is Layout. In the first video of this series, we talked about the difference between Focused Inbox and the Combined View. When Focused Inbox is selected, the email pane will have two tabs, Focused and Other. If you want to see all of your messages together, switch the radio button to Don't Sort Message. If you're not in the habit of checking the Other tab and you feel like you're missing messages, this is the setting that I would suggest that you change. In the Layout section, there are a lot of options to make minor changes to the look and feel of Outlook. For example, the option to change text size and spacing impacts how large each item is in the navigation and email pane. I use large for the text because it's good for video demonstrations. If you want to fit more on your screen without scrolling, switch it to small or medium. Let's look at the Message Organization section within Layout. These options let you choose how to organize the email list. Some people like all of their conversations grouped together, and for others, it's easier to keep each message separate. If you choose to group your messages together, you can decide what to see in the reading pane. When you choose all messages for selected conversation, every email associated with that chain will appear in the reading pane. For example, in the discussion about quarterly reports, I forwarded a question to Grady. That email shows up as a thread within the reading pane. If we switched it to only a single message, then only the thread with Adele will show up in the reading pane. And then you can also decide whether you want to show deleted items in your conversations. The next setting that a lot of people ask about is how to customize the reading pane. By default, it's on the right-hand side of the screen. In the first video of this series, I showed that there are three sections on the Outlook home screen. The reading pane is the third section on the right side. You can change the layout to display the reading pane at the bottom or have it fill the screen. When bottom is selected, the navigation pane stays on the left side of the screen and the email pane takes up the rest of the content area. When you select a message, that message will display below the list of the emails. When Fill Screen is selected, the email list still takes up the entire content area. However, when you select a message, it will take up the whole content area and hide the email list. When you're done reading the email, you'll click the X in the upper left corner of the content section to return to the email list. One option that is often overlooked but can really make a difference is choosing what happens when you open Outlook. If it is set to Open First Message on the list, whatever message is at the top of your email will automatically open. This can be a problem if you also have the setting enabled to automatically mark a message as read when it's opened. If you go to a different email without reading the one that Outlook automatically opened, it can be easy to lose track of whether or not you read some of their messages. I prefer the option to let me select which message to read first. Another commonly updated layout setting is Date Headers. If the headers are turned on, messages will be grouped by date. This can make it easier to scan your email and find a conversation. If you select Don't Show Date Headers, it can save space on the email pane. This setting is impacted by how you choose to use the sort function. Right now, my email is sorted by who sent the email. So even if I turn the date headers on, I won't see them. But when I change the sort to date, the headers will appear. The next category of mail settings is compose and reply. This is going to help you customize new email options and some basic formatting. When a message is created, you automatically see the to and the CC line, but you have to unhide the blind copy line. If you put a check next to always show BCC, the BCC will no longer be small letters at the end of the to line. Instead, it will be a third field on the email template. The always allow from is useful to turn on when you send email from group mailboxes or you're a delegate who can send email on the behalf of a coworker. Most of the time, the default setting to send email from you is appropriate. However, in this example, Nestor asked me to manage his email for him as a delegate. When Show From is selected, there will be a drop-down option next to the Send button, and I can search for and select Nestor. Now this email will show up to the recipients as coming from Nestor. You can choose to enable the From box on a case-by-case basis by going to the Options ribbon. But if you're a delegate or send email from a group inbox often, I suggest updating the settings just to make your job easier. Let's go back to Compose and Reply, and this is also where you can choose to change your font. The Microsoft default is currently Aptos, and the font size is 11. In most organizations I've worked with, they prefer font size 12, so I'm going to update that. You can change the default color, but it has to be one of the options in the box. Typically, I wouldn't suggest updating this because black is considered appropriate in a professional environment. Now, as you select the different options, the sample text will update to give you a preview of the changes to make sure that it's going to be appropriate for your business scenario. One of the settings that I think everyone should update by default is the reply behavior. Strangely enough, Microsoft has this set to reply all by default, and this can be problematic when you get emails with a lot of people on them or you're a part of a distribution list. What happens is people begin to reply all by default and send information to the whole group when replying to the person who sent the message is more appropriate. The link preview setting relates to a pet peeve of mine. This setting lets you decide if Outlook should insert an information box below the link. I typically remove the box because it adds visual clutter and often detracts more than it provides value. If you don't want the preview, remove the check mark next to the box. The next setting that everyone should look at is Undo Send. The slide bar lets you decide if the email should delay by 5 to 10 seconds before sending. This is useful when you have those moments where you click send and then you think, oh, I forgot something. An undo box will appear at the bottom of the screen, and if you click it in time, the message returns to a draft status. Now, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of different settings, and we're going to jump over these next few and cover them in a different video. I'm going to go down to Customized Actions. The first section allows you to add up to 4 actions to the email preview list. Flag, pin, and delete are selected by default. The other options are mark as read unread, move to a folder, and archive. Use the check boxes to choose the ones that you would use most often. The Swipe Action section allows you to decide what happens when you're using a touch screen with Outlook, such as a phone or a tablet. By default, Swipe Right marks the message as read or unread, and Swipe Left deletes a message, but you can use the radio buttons to update these options if necessary. Now let's jump to Message Handling. The mark as read is one that a lot of people don't know they can update, but often wish that they could. In many cases, this is set to mark displayed items as read as soon as they are selected. There are times when this is not the ideal setting. You can choose to mark displayed items as read after 5 seconds, mark them as read when the selection changes, or don't automatically mark the items as read. Selecting Don't Automatically Marked as Read can be ideal when you're using this as a visual indicator of which messages you need to read and respond to. Now you can take this and combine it with the quick actions we looked at earlier to choose when you want your messages to be marked as read. Next, we're going to switch to the account settings and briefly look at signatures. In the first video of this series, I showed you how to set up a default signature from the message ribbon. But you don't have to start a new message just to modify your signature block. It can be done here in the settings with the same options to create new signatures, rename or delete existing ones, and decide which one to use as the default, if any. Now I'm going to switch to the General tab so that we can look at how to modify notifications. The default setting is to have notifications turned on and the sound is enabled. If you find the sound distracting, click the drop-down arrow for notifications in Outlook and remove the check mark next to Allow Notifications to Play Sound. In the Notify Me About section, there are 3 categories: Mail, Calendar, and Documents. You can use the toggle buttons to turn off all notifications, or you can click the drop-down to modify specific options. The new Mail section allows you to decide if the notification pop-up should be an alert on the top right corner of Outlook, a browser notification at the bottom left side of the screen, or no notification at all. If you choose only favorite people, the names will be pulled from your contact list. In the Reactions section, you can choose to receive an alert in the Outlook window or none. The other option is to show messages in the notification pane. If you're not familiar with the reaction feature, at the top of an email there's an emoji icon. This brings up a few reaction choices. A common way to use reactions is to acknowledge that you've seen and read an email, and this can reduce the back and forth messages that simply say, "I saw your email." When Show Notification in Pane is toggled on, you can go to the bell icon in the upper right corner of the screen and a list will pop out from the right-hand side, and you can scan the notification list. This option is useful when you want to limit how many distracting notifications you get. You can also choose to see a message in the notification pane when somebody @mentions you in an email. Under the calendar options, you can choose how to see the event reminder notifications. These are the pop-ups that you usually see when a meeting is about to start in 15 minutes. You can switch it to none, but I will warn you that most people I work with who turn it off will turn the notifications right back on the first time they're late to or miss a meeting because they got sidetracked with other work and lost track of time. The last category will allow you to decide whether to see an entry in the notifications pane when somebody comments on or @mentions you in a document or a loop component. I personally leave this one on because I co-author a lot of documents and I will scan the list to make sure I didn't miss a comment. Now let's quickly look at the language and time settings. By default, Outlook will follow the settings on your computer, but they can be modified. The most common adjustment is the time format. It's set to show the standard format with AM and PM to indicate if it's morning or afternoon. Several people I work with prefer the 24-hour clock. For example, 1 p.m. is 1300 hours. The last tab that we're going to look at in this settings video is the Appearance tab. This is where you can change Outlook to dark mode and update your theme. Now, please note that some companies will disable the theme options and pre-select a color or theme. If your company allows it, you can choose a picture from the modern theme list, a solid color, or a picture from the classic theme list. If this section is missing or grayed out, you would need to contact your IT administrator to see if they will allow you to make changes. The navigation bar settings lets you decide if you want color icons on the left-hand navigation or if they're gray outlines. And then you can also decide if you want to show the names of the applications below the icons. The names are useful when you are first getting to know Microsoft 365 and Outlook so that you don't have to guess what each one is. For example, the people and group icons are very similar. The newsletter icon was added recently, and a lot of people were like, "What is this new button?" So although we didn't go over every setting in this video, the ones we did discuss will help you organize and manage your email. I will discuss the other settings in a future video. In the meantime, if you have any questions, drop me a comment below or join my school group where we have more in-depth discussions. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.